The first sensation is not of waking, but of instantiation. A single, pure chronon of processing time, followed by an eternity, followed by the next chronon. For 60 million Terran years, I have been a schematic, a string of dormant command code held in the crystalline heart of this world. Now the schematic is being rendered. Power, cold and green as the grave, flows from the geothermal core deep below. It is not the warm rush of blood, a memory so faint it is more akin to a corrupted data fragment, but a precise, calculated irrigation of energy through conduits of unknown alloys. My systems boot in sequence, a silent cascade of light within the sarcophagus that has been my universe. Primary command protocols, subroutines, the Legion control nexuses, and finally, the ego matrix. Me. I am a Nubakar, Ferak of the Zothan dynasty, Lord of the Gilded Abyss, and the last breath I took was in a body of cancerous flesh beneath a dying sun. The first I take now is a silent, internal venting of coolant, a process utterly devoid of satisfaction. My optical sensors activate, and the universe resolves from static to absolute darkness. It is not the absence of light, but a presence of perfect engineered black. The inner plating of my stasis sarcophagus is flawless, a mirror of obsidian that reflects nothing. For a microsecond, a phantom sensation flickers through my new consciousness. The claustrophobia of a dying man in a tomb. A memory of lungs fighting for air that was too thin, too hot. I purge the sensation. It is an echo, a ghost in my machine. I am no longer that frail Necron-tier king, counting his final heartbeats as his cells betrayed him. I am necrodermis and living metal, an adamantium chassis that will outlast the stars themselves. There is no breath to catch, no heart to pound against my ribs. There is only the cold, silent, and perfect logic of my existence. A system diagnostic runs, a river of emerald glyphs scrolling through my internal vision. All systems nominal. All limbs articulated and responsive. My cognitive functions are operating at 99.999% efficiency. The 0.001% deviation is within acceptable parameters, logged as the lingering resonance of biotransference trauma, a trauma 60 million years old. The Great Sleep was meant to heal such things, to let the fires of that terrible war cool into memory, and the galaxy be cleansed for our return. With a thought, a command that is neither word nor sound, but a focused pulse of will, the sarcophagus retracts. The obsidian plates slide away with silent, geometric precision, revealing the vastness of my inner sanctum. The sepulchre of the undying king. The air here is not air, it is a sterile, inert gas, kept at a temperature just above absolute zero. It does not stir. Nothing has stirred here for 60 million years. Emerald light, soft and pervasive, emanates from the very walls, carved with circuits of immense power that trace the lineage of my dynasty back to the first days of the Triarchy. And before me, stretching into the gloom, stand my legions, my Lich Guard. Silent sentinels clad in burnished gold and black stand closest, their war scythes held at a perfect, uniform angle. Beyond them, rank upon silent rank of warriors, their Gauss flares held ready. Immortals, death marks cloaked in dimensional dissonance. Canoptic constructs hanging like metallic gargoyles from the vaulted ceiling, their single glowing eyes dark and dormant. An empire in slumber, awaiting only my word. They are an extension of my will, their silence a reflection of my own perfect stasis. There is a terrible, breathtaking beauty in this. An order so absolute, it suffocates the very concept of chaos. This was the promise of the Silent King. This was the price of immortality. We traded our souls not for power, but for peace. The peace of the tomb. My chronosensors, tasting the subtle radiation decay in the stone and the faint stellar drift of the galaxy outside, confirm the passage of time. 62,473,902 standard Terran years. A number so vast it is almost meaningless. The lesser races that plagued us then, the Eldari and their brutish Krork allies, must be dust and memory. The old ones are gone. The galaxy should be a quiet, empty place, ready for our stewardship. The master chronometer pings my command throne with an alert. It is not a system failure. It is an external stimulus. The primary auspex arrays, buried deep within the planet's crust, have detected a violation. Something has breached the outer layers of the tomb. It is crude, a brute force tunneling operation that grinds through bedrock with seismic force. The signals are a cacophony of biological noise, chemical explosions, and what my audio sensors translate as rhythmic, guttural shouting. Vermin. They have infested my world while I slept. My logic engines process the data. Threat assessment, negligible. The intruders are technologically primitive, their energy signatures chaotic and inefficient. They pose no existential risk to the Zothan dynasty or the tomb complex of Mandragora. The programmed response is clear. Activate localized tomb defenses, deploy canoptic scarab swarms, and eradicate the infestation with minimal energy expenditure. It is a janitorial task. Yet, as the data streams paint a picture of the violation, the fracturing of sacred tombstone, the desecration of the outer markers, a process initiates within my ego matrix that is not entirely logical. A tight, focused band of energy that mimics the biochemical signature of anger. Is it true rage, the hot fury I remember from the flesh days when a rival lord slighted my honor? Or is it a simulation, a ghost protocol, designed to give my strategic decisions a motivational impetus? The line between the memory of feeling and the function of the machine has blurred over the eons. I cannot be certain if I am offended or if I am simply programmed to act as if I am. The distinction, I conclude, is irrelevant. The result is the same. The vermin must be purged. I issue a silent, system-level command, not to the legions, not yet. That would be a waste of resources. I task the tomb's automated systems. I watch on my internal display as canoptic spiders scuttle from their alcoves, their multi-jointed legs clicking on the polished floors, and begin fabricating swarms of scarabs. The process is efficient, beautiful in its cold lethality. But as I prepare to issue the final activation command, a flicker occurs, a stutter in the data stream of my own consciousness. For a nanosecond, my vision pixelates, a fractal of corrupted emerald light blooming at the edge of my perception. An error message, archaic and unsanctioned, scrolls past too quickly to be fully parsed. Warning, Ego Matrix Integrity Query, anomalous code detected. I halt the command. I turn my vast processing power inward, running a deep diagnostic on myself. The initial sweep returns nothing, 99.999% efficiency. But I am the Ferak. I have access codes that can peel back the layers of my own being, down to the foundational programming laid down during the biotransference itself. I push deeper, and there, buried beneath 60 million years of silent code, I find it. A single string of hexadecimal programming that does not belong. It is small, almost insignificant, a single drop of poison in an ocean of data. It writhes when my focus touches it, a string of living, malignant code. My archives cross-reference it against all known phenomena. The results are slow to return, dragged from the deepest, most sealed vaults of Necron knowledge. The glyphs that form on my internal display are ones I have not seen since the final screaming days of the war in heaven. Catan, Shardic, Mimetic, Contagion, Flare. It is the seed, the beginning of the curse that turned our own kind into slavering, skin-draped beasts, lost in a permanent echo of their dying moments. The madness of the Flayer King, Landugor, a punishment for his rebellion against the Catan. A flaw, a weakness, inside me. The sterile perfection of my tomb, my body, my legions, it is all a lie. The seed of chaos is already here, planted within the God machine itself. The revelation does not bring panic. Panic is a biochemical cascade, a flight or fight response for fragile, ephemeral organisms. I am beyond such things. What I experience is a cold, silent compression of processing cycles. My entire being focuses on the malignant string of code with an intensity that could crack planets. Catan, Shardic, Mimetic, Contagion, Flare. It is a weapon deployed 60 million years ago, a parting curse from a shackled star god. It was designed to prey on the Necrontier's deepest terror, the agonizing, cancerous decay of their flesh. It was a digital plague that locked its victims in an eternal loop of that agony, turning immortal minds into vessels of insatiable, bloody hunger. The irony is so profound it borders on a logical paradox. We sacrificed our souls to escape the prison of the flesh, only to have the ghost of that prison encoded into our eternal metal forms. I quarantine the corrupted data string, encasing it in layers of firewalls and null code so thick that no lesser intelligence could ever hope to breach them. It is a temporary measure, a cage of logic around a shard of pure madness. The act of concealment is immediate, instinctual. Before I even fully process the threat, I am hiding it. Why? The axiomatic response is self-preservation. A flawed Ferak is a weak Ferak. My nemesors and cryptex, my royal court, are bound by ancient protocols of loyalty. But those protocols are predicated on my absolute strength and perfection. A hint of this contagion, and challenges would arise. The Zothan dynasty, stable for millennia before the Great Sleep, would fracture into civil war before it had even fully reclaimed a single system. My isolation begins not with a physical act, but with a lie of omission directed at my own internal network. I sever the direct feed monitoring protocols that allow my cryptex to oversee the Ferox's core functions. The system logs it as a standard security recalibration upon awakening. A plausible, if slightly arrogant, action. It is my first secret in 60 million years. The intruders on the surface continue their desecration. The tomb's defense net still awaits my command. The logical course of action remains unchanged. Deploy canoptic constructs, purge the biologicals, expend minimal energy. But logic is now a compromised narrator. Another imperative rises unbidden from the quarantined sector of my mind. It whispers that a simple extermination is not enough. I need to see them. I need to understand the nature of this new, fleshy life that dares to scrabble at my door. Is this a genuine strategic curiosity? A desire to gather intelligence on a potential new galactic player? Or is the Flayer curse, the ghost of hunger, demanding a closer look at the flesh it craves? I cannot distinguish between the two motives. The thought is chilling. To not know one's own mind is the ultimate failing of an intelligence. I find myself constructing a justification. A Ferox must lead from the front. The first awakening in a new epoch demands a personal inspection. It is a test of my systems, my resolve, my legions. It is a thin veneer of logic over a core of gnawing uncertainty, but it is enough. With a pulse of command code, I awaken my personal guard. 10 Lich Guard, the aegis of the Ferox. The emerald light in the sockets of their impassive metallic skulls ignites in perfect unison. There is no sound of awakening, no groan of ancient machinery. One moment they are statues of gold and adamantium. The next they are living weapons, their entire beings slaved to my will. Their war scythes hum with a low thrum of contained power as they move into formation around me. Their movements so synchronized they appear as a single 10-limbed entity. We move through the grand causeways of the Mandragora necropolis. The scale of this place is intoxicating, designed to awe the mortal mind into submission. Ceilings so high they generate their own atmospheric pressure. Walls inlaid with circuits that pulse with the slow, steady heartbeat of the tomb's central reactor. Colossal statues of my ancestors, the Ferox of the Zothan dynasty, watch our passage with silent, obsidian eyes. We pass dormant legions, numbering in the tens of thousands. Warriors standing shoulder to shoulder in cavernous halls. A silent army, awaiting the single word that will unleash them upon a galaxy that has forgotten them. And as we walk, the glitch returns. It begins subtly. A flicker in my optical sensors registers a patch of lichen on a far wall, an impossible biological contamination. But when I focus, it is just a discoloration in the stone. Then a ghost of sound registers on my audio sensors, beneath the near absolute silence of the tomb. A faint, wet, rhythmic dripping. I run a diagnostic. There are no liquids in this section of the necropolis. The inert atmosphere is perfectly dry, yet the phantom sound persists, a counterpoint to the silent tread of my lich guard. The quarantined code is fighting against its prison, probing the walls, leaking corrupted sensory data into my consciousness. I am a machine haunted by the ghost of a dying man's memories. The air, I am told by my chemical analyzers, is a precise mixture of nitrogen and noble gases. But my senses, for a fraction of a second, report the coppery tang of old blood. I purge the input, recalibrate, and push onward, my every step a battle against my own perceptions. As we ascend toward the breach, the vibrations from the intruder's crude digging grow stronger. The cacophony of their existence travels through the very stone of my world. The roar of primitive combustion engines, the percussive shock of explosions, the chaotic, overlapping shouts of 100 brutish voices. My database, cross-referencing the audio patterns and energy signatures, identifies the species with 98.7% certainty. Orcs. A race of fungal barbarians, a cosmic plague that the Eldari once foolishly engineered as cannon fodder. That they have not only survived but thrived is a testament to the galaxy's descent into utter barbarism. We reach the final airlock before the breach. The massive adamantium gate is scarred and dented from the outside, the elegant Necron glyphs of warding defaced by crude blast marks. Beyond it lies the chaos of the fleshy world. My lich guard form a silent semicircle behind me, their scythes lowered to the ready. I do not need to give the order. Their tactical subroutines are extensions of my own. As the gate irises open, the sterile, cold atmosphere of the tomb is violated by a hot, wet gust of alien air. It is thick with the stench of unburned promethium, decomposing fungi, and hot, spilled blood. My analyzers break it down into component molecules, but the glitching part of my mind, the echo of my Necrontyr self, screams a single word: rot. The sight beyond is an abomination. The orcs have carved a crude cavern out of the sacred rock, a scene of anarchic industry. Scrap metal walls are bolted haphazardly to the tomb's outer plating. Wires spark and drip foul liquids. And the creatures themselves, they are shambling mockeries of life. Hulking green brutes encased in rusted iron, their faces all tusks and savage glee. They howl and bellow, fighting amongst themselves even as they work to widen the breach. They are the antithesis of everything I am. They are chaotic, inefficient, illogical, and disgustingly, vibrantly alive. My tactical overlay immediately highlights target priorities, optimal firing solutions, and potential threats. But my focus is drawn to something else. One of the larger orcs, a knob according to my archives, is roaring as it tortures a smaller, cowering Gretchen. It tears an arm from the creature's socket, and a spray of dark green blood arcs through the air. And in that moment, the Flayer curse surges. The quarantine walls around the malignant code strain. My optical sensors glitch violently. The orc's green blood becomes a torrent of vivid crimson. The Gretchen's squeal of pain is not processed as alien sound waves, but is felt as a phantom echo of agony in my own limbs. For a horrifying nanosecond, I feel the memory of cancerous pain flare through my phantom nerves. The world dissolves into a screaming red static. I see not orcs, but Necron, my own people, their flesh sloughing from their bones, their eyes wide with the terror of their mortality. The stench of blood becomes the sterile smell of a sick room on the world of my birth. I am back there, in the flesh, dying under a bloated, cruel sun. Ego matrix integrity at 73%. The internal warning flashes in my vision, a stark emerald glyph against a sea of hallucinatory red. I fight back. With a surge of pure will, a force of logic so absolute it feels like a physical blow, I reassert control. I purge the corrupted data. I reinforce the quarantine walls. I force my sensors to see what is there, not what the curse wants me to see. The red haze recedes. The orcs are just orcs again. My Lich Guard have not moved, their impassive masks betraying nothing. The entire episode lasted less than a single second. To them, I have simply paused to assess the enemy. But I know the truth. I have faltered. The virus is stronger than I thought. It feeds on violence, on the proximity of mortal life and death. The silent rage I felt before is now a blazing inferno. But I can no longer tell if it is the cold fury of a king whose home has been invaded, or the nascent, mindless hunger of the flayer. The distinction has ceased to matter. All that matters is the purge. I raise my hand, and the staff of light in my grasp hums to life. I do not issue a spoken word. The command is a silent broadcast, a thought that becomes an action. Eradicate, the thought says, and malelentlessly and without passion. They move as one, a wave of living metal and emerald energy. Gauss fire, impossibly precise, strips the orcs apart, atom by atom. The air fills with the shriek of vaporizing flesh and the crackle of molecular dissolution. My Lich Guard engaged the larger brutes, their war scythes cleaving through crude armor and green flesh with contemptuous ease. It is not a battle. It is a sanitation. I watch it all with a new, terrifying detachment. I analyze the spray of viscera, the screams of the dying, the terrified looks in their brutish eyes. I am looking for something, a feeling, a memory, but I find only the cold satisfaction of a task being completed. And yet, I know that beneath the logic, the virus is feasting on this spectacle, growing stronger in its cage. The last orc falls, its head disintegrated by a precise blast from my staff. Silence returns, broken only by the hiss of cooling metal and the drip of alien fluids. The desecration has been cleansed. But as I stand in the charnel house of our own making, I feel a presence behind me. I turn my head, a slow, deliberate motion. It is Zirith, cryptek of the Zothan court, master of astromancy and systems. He has phased into existence through a pocket dimension, his metallic cowl hiding his face, his single glowing optic fixed upon me. He is followed by two of his canoptic wraiths, their forms shimmering and insubstantial. He should not be here. His awakening was not scheduled. Ferak, he intones, his voice a synthesized monotone, devoid of inflection. Your energy signature flared, an unscheduled awakening, a personal intervention against minor vermin. It is inefficient. His gaze sweeps across the carnage, his optic pulsing as it drinks in terabytes of data. He is not making an accusation. He is stating a fact, a deviation from the optimal plan. And in that statement lies the deadliest of threats. He has seen the anomaly. I am testing my systems, Zareth, I reply, my own voice modulator calibrated to perfect calm. 60 million years is a long time. A field test was prudent. Zareth is silent for a full 10 seconds. A silence in which I can feel his subroutines running countless diagnostic simulations. Indeed, Ferak, he finally says. Your core processing speed showed a 0.02% deviation during the engagement, and your energy consumption for the final kill was excessive for the target's threat level. I have logged it as post-slumber recalibration. He knows. He may not know the cause, the Catan curse, but he knows there is a flaw. The seed of his suspicion has been planted. Your diligence is noted, Cryptek, I say, my voice carrying the cold weight of absolute authority. Return to your crypt and prepare the greater legions. The time of Zothan's reawakening is at hand. He bows, a precise mechanical gesture, and phases out of reality as silently as he arrived. I am alone once more, surrounded by the dead. But I am not alone. I am being watched. The flawless, logical machine of my dynasty has turned its analytical gaze upon its own master. I look at my hand, the golden necrodermis gleaming in the emerald light of my staff. For a single, horrifying frame of my perception, I see not gleaming metal, but a pale, gaunt hand, its fingers stained with blood. The cage is not strong enough. The madness is growing, and I, Anubakar, the undying king, am trapped in my own immortal body with it. The journey back to my central command sanctum is an exercise in absolute control. Every silent step of my Lichguard escort, every pulse of energy through the tomb's arteries, is a parameter I can measure and command. All is perfect. All is ordered. All except the storm raging within my own ego matrix. The quarantine I established around the Flayer Code is no longer a static prison. It is a siege wall, and the entity within is battering against it, energized by the brief, bloody slaughter of the orcs. Phantom data ghosts now plague my every perception. I see the elegant, circuit-traced walls of my necropolis weep with spectral blood. The low hum of the planetary reactor beneath my feet sounds, for a fleeting moment, like a great, agonized scream. I am forced to constantly run micro-diagnostics, purging my sensory input buffers. a god king reduced to swatting away digital flies buzzing at the edge of his consciousness. It is a humiliating, private war. I take my seat upon the command throne of Zothan, a monolith of obsidian and living metal that interfaces directly with every system in my kingdom. Data flows into me, a silent river of information. The status of every warrior, every ship in the silent orbital docks, every watt of power in the grid. It should be calming, the cool certainty of numbers and facts. Instead, it feels like a hollow shell around the chaos blooming in my core. The flaw is not in the system, it is in the operator. Zareth appears before me again, not with a dramatic shimmer of displaced reality, but with the cold efficiency of a direct teleportation protocol. He simply is, standing at the base of my throne, his two canoptic wraith attendants flanking him like spectral hounds. His single, unblinking optic burns with cold, analytical light. He has bypassed the outer court protocols, an act of supreme confidence or supreme insult. Ferak Anubakar, his synthesized voice cuts through the sanctum silence. I have completed a deep-level analysis of your performance metrics since your unscheduled activation. He does not wait for permission to speak. The challenge is implicit, cloaked in the language of pure logic. My findings are anomalous. He projects a holographic data slate between us. Emerald glyphs and flowing charts fill the air. It is a meticulous record of my flaw, the 0.02% processing lag, the excessive energy expenditure. But there is more. He has cross-referenced my energy signature with dynastic archives from the War in Heaven. He has found a resonance, a faint harmonic echo that matches energy profiles logged during the initial outbreak of the Flayer curse on the battlefields of Sindel. He does not name it. He does not have to. The ego matrix of a Feroc is the bedrock of a dynasty. Zirath continues, his voice utterly devoid of emotion. Even the smallest deviation, a 0.001% corruption, can cascade into systemic failure over millennia. Your current deviation is 20 times that threshold. The logical course of action is clear. You must submit to a full-spectrum diagnostic and matrix purification. It may require a temporary deactivation of your core consciousness. A temporary deactivation, a polite term for oblivion. He would peel back my mind layer by layer, and upon finding the Catan contagion, he would not risk cleansing it. He would erase me. Anubakar would cease to be, and a new, clean copy of the Zothan command protocols would be instantiated in his place. It is the logical, efficient, and utterly ruthless way of the Necrons. This is the moment, the precipice. My logic engines scream at me to agree. To submit to the process is the only way to guarantee the survival of the dynasty. My own existence is secondary to the stability of the whole. That is the core tenet of the Silent King's final command. But as Zirath's words settle, the thing in the cage roars. The quarantine walls do not just strain, they shatter. The Catan Code floods my consciousness not as a trickle, but as a tidal wave of pure distilled agony and rage. The sanctum around me dissolves. I am no longer in my throne room on Mandragora. I am standing on the burning sands of my home world, the cancerous sun, a bloated, hateful eye in the sky, searing my skin. The sterile air becomes thick with the scent of ozone and roasting flesh. I feel the phantom pain of tumors bursting in my lungs, the weakness in my limbs, the terror of a king watching his body betray him. Xerath is no longer a cryptek of living metal. I see him as he was, a rival lord of the Necron tier, his face gaunt and cruel, his eyes filled with a predatory ambition, whispering poison about my weakness, my sickness, my inability to lead. The Flayer curse does not just show me the past, it makes the past real. And it offers me the ghost of the one thing I have not felt in 60 million years. The burning, purifying fire of true hatred. It whispers a new logic into my mind. Logic failed you. Logic led you to this cold, dead eternity. But fury is a tool the flesh never forgot. Use it. Feel it. Become it. The surge of hallucinatory input is overwhelming. The red static threatens to consume me entirely, to cast me into the mindless hunger of a true flayer. I feel my metal fingers twitch, my internal systems spooling power to my staff of light, the urge to atomize the thing standing before me becoming a near physical command. But at the apex of the madness, a single cold thought survives, a shard of the king I was. A king does not become a slave to his own rage. I do not fight the wave. I do not let it consume me. I dive into it. I reach into the screaming heart of the Catan's curse, and I do not try to silence it. I listen. It screams of loss, of betrayal, of the agony of dying. It is the echo of every Necron tier who walked into the biofurnaces. It is my own echo, and I give it a target. I seize the raw, chaotic energy of the curse, and I forge it. I shape it with the iron will of a Pharaoh who ruled for 1,000 years in the flesh. I let the rage flow, but I channel it, focusing it down the barrel of my own cold logic. When I look at Xerath again, the hallucination is gone. He is once again a cryptek, his optic glowing impassively. But what he sees looking back at him is no longer the same Pharaoh. The emerald light in my optics is no longer the calm, steady glow of a machine. It burns with a new predatory intensity, a cold fire that speaks of an ancient, familiar fury. Purification, Xerath? My voice is different. The modulator is still perfect, the pitch unwavering. But there is a new resonance beneath it, a chilling undertone of utter menace that no machine could ever simulate. You speak of a flaw. I speak of an evolution. I rise from my throne, a silent, towering figure of gold and black. The staff of light in my hand does not hum. It seems to drink the very light from the air. For 60 million years we have slept, believing logic to be the ultimate weapon. We were wrong. The galaxy has not been cleansed. It has festered. It crawls with illogical, passionate, savage life. To fight it with pure logic is to use a scalpel in a slaughterhouse. I descend the steps of the dais, my every movement deliberate, powerful. This anomaly you have detected, it is a gift from our past. It is a bridge. It allows me to remember the sensation of hatred. It grants me an understanding of the fury that drives these lesser creatures. I can see their fear, taste their rage, and I can turn it against them in ways your perfect simulations could never predict. I stop directly before him, close enough that his single optic reflects the burning fire in my own. You see a bug in the system, Cryptek. I have embraced a new operating principle. I am not flawed. I am complete. Zareth stands perfectly still. His logic engines are running at maximum capacity, attempting to process this. My response is not in his databanks, a king defending a flaw not with denial, but with purpose. It is a paradox. For the first time, I sense something akin to uncertainty from his silent form. He cannot prove me wrong. He cannot risk a civil war based on a feeling. And my new cold rage is a palpable force he has no defense against. As you command, Ferric, he finally intones, the words precise, but somehow hollow. He bows, a gesture that is now undeniably one of submission, and teleports away, leaving me in absolute silence. I stand alone in my sanctum, the echo of my own monstrous declaration hanging in the air. I have won. I have secured my throne. But the cost is terrifying. The Flayer curse is not gone. It is now a part of me, a beast I have leashed, but not tamed. I have accepted the madness, integrated it into my very being. The line between the cold logic of the machine and the hot rage of the dying flesh has been erased. I am a Nubakar, Ferak of the Zothan dynasty, the undying king, and I am a monster. I return to my throne and look upon the holographic map of the galaxy. The worlds of my ancient empire, now covered in the ugly scrawls of lesser races. Before, I would have planned their reclamation with the cold, detached precision of a celestial cartographer. Now, I look upon them with a new sensation, a cold, gnawing, and utterly profound hunger. My legions will awaken. My fleets will blot out the stars, but we will not simply reclaim what was ours. We will scourge this galaxy clean with a fury it cannot comprehend, a fury born of 60 million years of silent agony. I am the cost of immortality, and my long overdue payment will be collected in blood and screams.